Thank you guys so much for the help. You guys helped me figure out that the strange dots and dashes I was finding on these sticky notes was actually Morse code. For anyone else, I'm gonna play the Morse code aloud from the 4 sticky notes, and then we can see what it says together. Maybe we'll understand what he's trying to tell us. Okay, I found an app that plays Morse code aloud and lets us know what it translates to, so I'm gonna play what the first sticky note said. Apparently, this means P in Morse code. And the second sticky note reads, this means U. The third one is, the app says this is a R. And the last one, that's an E. P-U-R-E. Pure? What does that even mean? I feel like now I've got more questions than I started with. Like I said, after reading through some of the comments on my last post, I came to the realization that those dots and dashes were indeed not random ink splotches. It was frickin' Morse code. How I didn't come to that realization in the first place is beyond me. But for one thing, my nerves are fried. I've not been thinking clearly, and I haven't been sleeping very well. Between constantly being on high alert and staying up every night until I pass out, I feel like I'm slowly losing my mind. But I know you aren't all reading this post to hear me whine about my sanity, so I've got an update. I received another sticky note. This one has another marking on the corner, and it was delivered to my workplace again. Straight to my desk, with a dozen white roses. Oh god, the second I opened the little envelope and pulled out the sticky note, a sickening wave of nausea crashed over me so hard I vomited up everything I had for breakfast. The other ladies in the office were quick to rush to my aid, and as comforting as they were all completely oblivious to the fact that this sudden sickness was brought on by the note I received with the roses. I hadn't told anyone at work, and I didn't intend to. My boss ended up sending me home and telling me to feel better soon. His words were nice, but all I could think about was the fact that I wasn't going to feel better anytime soon. In the meantime, let me walk you through all the precautions I've been taking. I had my carbon monoxide detector checked twice. I checked for hidden cameras, and I checked every vent and cupboard in my apartment. After the first couple of weeks that I dealt with the sticky notes, I decided to speak with the landlord and see if he could offer any help. My next step was to see if he could assist me in getting my locks changed. He's a nice enough man and is always incredibly helpful. In fact, when I came to him in search of any openings, he was one of the only apartment complexes in town to offer me something around my price range. I was living paycheck to paycheck, and he knew what that was like. I still remember our first interaction clear as day. "Hi, what can I help you with?" Warm brown eyes met mine from across the room. He was young, probably in his 30s, and had a head of thick chestnut-colored hair. There was a medley of tattoos on one of his arms, and I couldn't help but wonder how long it took him to gather that many. I smiled and walked up, hoping that this time I wouldn't get turned away. The moment I approached the desk, he was quick to exchange pleasantries and shake my hand. He was a tall man, towering over my 5'6" frame with ease. A little gold nameplate stared back at me from the desk. Jack. Hi, Jack. I'm hoping that maybe your apartment complex has some 1-bedroom, 1-bath openings. Tapping a pen on the table, he sat back down and clacked away on the keyboard before looking up. "You're in luck. We actually just had one open up about a week ago. It's ready to move in, and it's yours if you want it." "Oh, great. That's perfect." I smiled up at him, elated at the fact I finally found an opening. The second he went over the pricing, though, I felt my smile drop into a concerned frown. As he went over the amenities and everything that was included, I anxiously twisted the ring on my finger. I could not afford any of this. Tugging the ring free, I continued to fidget with it until I felt it slip from my grasp and tumble over the desk and onto the floor in front of him. I sheepishly laughed, embarrassed at my nervous habit. "Oh, I am so sorry." My words rushed together, tumbling out of my mouth almost as quickly as my ring tumbled out of my hands. Reaching under his desk, he snatched it up and handed it back to me with an understanding smile. "No biggie, really. It's a beautiful little ring." Cheeks still red with embarrassment, I smiled back. "Oh, thank you. It was a gift from my grandmother." Nodding his head, he pointed to it again. "Actually, that ring looks kind of familiar." "Oh, it's just a simple little purity ring. I tucked a stray piece of hair behind my ear before slipping it back onto my finger. Playing with it is a bit of a nervous habit of mine. "Well," he stated, "if the pricing for the apartment is what you're nervous about, I'm sure I could make an adjustment for you. You seem like a really nice person with a good head on your shoulders, and I know finding a decent place to stay around here is a bit hit or miss." A small smile tugged at my lips as I looked up at him. I could hear the genuine sincerity in his words, and I was more than appreciative. Thank you, really. As I sit on my couch, the purple sticky note is staring up at me menacingly from my coffee table as I twirl the little ring around my finger again and again. "Are you afraid yet?" Yes, I wanted to shout at it. I am afraid. In fact, I'm terrified. The other sticky notes were scattered around it, and my eyes roamed over each one, but they stayed on the blue one and the purple one. Both had those triangular-shaped arrows on them. The blue one, an arrow in the bottom right corner, pointing up into the center of the sticky note, and the purple one, almost a mirror image. This time, the arrow was on the left bottom corner, pointing up towards the center of its note. What did it all mean, though? What was the psycho trying to convey to me? Around the time I was ready to pull my hair out, I heard a knock on the door. My heart raced as I heard the knock sound again. A bit of perspiration collected at my brow as I got up to cross the room. Stopping at the door, shaky breaths left my lips as I tried to force myself to look into the peephole. No one that came to my door felt safe. This stalker could be anyone, and I didn't want to take my chances. Finally peering through the hole, I noticed it was my next-door neighbor. We had never spoke, and why he wanted to speak to me now was beyond me. I didn't even know his name. Leaning my head up against the door, I drew in slow, steady breaths. The coolness of the door against my forehead was slightly comforting as I waited for the knocking to stop. Once I saw him walking back across the hall to his apartment, I hesitantly opened the door. There on my welcome mat was a note. My breathing quickened and my vision blurred as I picked it up. My legs threatened to buckle as I reached out to grasp the sides of the door frame. I needed to get a grip. If I wasn't careful, I was going to send myself into a panic attack, or worse, I was going to pass out. The moment I opened it, though, the first thing I noticed was an obvious difference in handwriting. Relief flooded my body for a split second before I took the time to actually read what it said. Closing the door, I locked it and slumped down onto the floor. I couldn't decide if this message was good or bad, but a part of me hoped that maybe he'd just seen something I hadn't. "Hey, we need to talk."